I'm Tato Cat. Welcome to my channel. Today we're playing Cabin Fever. Last time we left off here on this choice after Mallory supposedly might have flirted, but I don't think she flirted. Yeah, so we left here. Let's continue. Is she being flirty? Try flirting back. Better avoid the subject. I can't imagine our character being good at flirting. I'm pretty sure she wasn't flirting. Let's just avoid the subject. I scratched the end of my nose and fixed my eyes on the compost bin beside her.
Lots of dandelions, huh? Nasty weeds. Did you know you can actually eat the leaves?
Okay. She looked down at them in surprise.
I don't know about that. I seem to remember trying to eat one when I was little, and it was disgusting.
I think you're supposed to cook them first.
They're only good when the leaves are young. Once they get too old, they turn bitter.
Like people.
Like me.
Yeah. It took her a moment to process the joke, but when it clicked, she burst out laughing. Her laugh made me laugh too. We were interrupted when Mallory's stomach decided to let a high-pitched growl. She stopped laughing and clasped her hands on her stomach.
Sorry. My tummy must be hungry after all that work.
Mine is too. And I think I felt a raindrop just now, which is probably our cue to head inside. Do you want to meet me in there? I'll pick some things to make us a strawberry salad.
What is a strawberry salad? Is it just strawberries cut up?
Wow, that sounds so delicious. I'll see you in a bit.
I grabbed a bucket off the porch and spent a few minutes in the garden gathering ingredients. A few raindrops pelted me here and there. Quickly I hurried back inside, following Mallory's footsteps. That looks like... Okay, by the time we're eating lunch. Alright. By the time we finished eating lunch, the gray clouds had fully taken over the sky and rain clung in droplets to the cabin windows.
Well, if we get as much rain as the forecast predicts, the rain barrel sure will be happy.
Those are the big containers on the side of the house?
Yeah, you're getting good at this. It's probably the #1 most important system I have here. The water those 4 barrels can hold can last a long time, as long as I'm careful with it.
You know, don't use baths and whatnot.
No luxurious baths. No water balloon fights either, I'm guessing. Just basic cleaning, cooking, and drinking, right?
Yep.
Jeez, you make me sound like someone who doesn't know how to have fun.
You don't.
You're pretty much right, though. But you can't just drink rainwater. It wouldn't be safe.
Oh?
The water picks up a lot of things before it makes its way into the barrel. Pollution from the air, chemicals, dirt and bird droppings from the roof.
Yum.
Ew.
Yeah, it's gross. So I add chemicals to the water and filter it to make it clean and safe. I'll have to show you how all that stuff works. Cleaning the water, using the spigots.
She turned her head to look me right in the eyes.
You're really smart. I like hearing about all the systems you use here.
My cheeks burned under the shock of her beautiful gaze, and the admiration I saw in her eyes. I nodded, not knowing what else to say. After that conversation, I went to check the solar batteries. They were full, which was good. The power they'd bank would last us a few days if necessary. Then the two of us settled down in the living room. I worked at my computer while Mallory gently explored my things and eventually nestled into the couch with a book to flip through. It was oddly effortless, the silence and the comfort that had filled the room all through the afternoon. Gradually the sky darkened, and so did the interior of the cabin. It was probably long past time for a break when Mallory closed her book and stood up, teetering just a little on her bad leg.
Can I make us some tea?
I leaned back in my chair.
That sounds like a very good idea. Yes, please.
She meandered into the kitchen and put the kettle on to boil. I stood up and went to the utility room so I could switch off the inverter. There likely wouldn't be any more sunlight for the next while, so I decided to reduce the load on the solar batteries and only run off DC power for the rest of the night. Oh no! I heard something coming from the kitchen, like a small stifled cough. I listened hard to see if it would come again, but it didn't.
She's probably just clearing her throat.
It's so ominous. I came out into the kitchen and took a seat at the table. Mallory brought over 2 steaming mugs and set them down.
Honey?
Yes, dear?
Our character is just so... We both breathed. I felt my cheeks suddenly warm. Why did you say that? Screamed my brain.
I meant honey for your tea?
Yep, you did.
He's so adorable. I felt like such an idiot. The reply had fallen from my mouth before I even had a chance to think about it. Okay, I said to myself. Now I'll salvage this.
And I was saying, yes, I will have honey for my tea. And then I was very rudely interrupted mid-thought by a deer that definitely exists and totally ran past the window.
Smooth. Mallory laughed, but it was a "you're cute" kind of laugh, not an "I'm laughing at you" kind of laugh, so I felt better. After bringing over the honey and some spoons, Mallory sat by me and picked up her mug. She took a drink and made a strange little noise in her throat.
Oh, I just burned my tongue.
See, that's why I always let mine cool down for a minute or two.
I couldn't do that. It smelled too delicious to wait.
I got up and poured her a glass of cold water.
Here, this will help.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
We are Satsuma after all. After taking a few sips of water, she set down her glass and looked at me with a sad, soft smile.
So, why would someone as nice as you feel the need to set bear traps right in front of their home?
To stop bears. The question caught me by surprise. I didn't know she'd even been thinking about that. Of course, it seemed obvious now. She had acted far too chipper and unconcerned when the accident happened. She must have been holding back and was just now feeling safe enough to question why she'd been hurt in the first place. I nodded slowly.
Well, I don't know who this nice person is you're talking about, but I can tell you why I have traps set up around my house. It's all because of Lola.
Was she a showgirl?
Ooh, is that a stalker ex-girlfriend? Do you have to defend your property from a lot of girls?
No, it's nothing like that.
I paused to take a sip of tea, taking care to blow on it a few times before drinking. For some reason, I couldn't quite look at Mallory then, though I could see from the corner of my eye she was listening intently.
Lola was my best friend, my beautiful Bernese mountain dog. She was the family pet, really, but me and her, we had a special bond.
Aw, she was a doggy.
After my parents passed away, Lola and I took care of each other. She was a hard worker. She was by my side always, finding little ways to help me out.
Aw.
You definitely would have loved her. She had one brown eye and one blue eye, and her heart was made of gold.
Mallory nodded softly, wrapping her hands around her mug of tea.
One fall evening, I was inside working on the computer, and Lola was outside on the deck, just enjoying the cold. Bernese mountain dogs are, as the name implies, mountain dogs, and they're made to be out in the snow. She loved snow. The deeper, the better. But it hadn't snowed yet that year.
A surge of emotion came over me. I had never told anyone the story before. I needed to pause and drink more tea to stop myself from caving to the sorrow.
Lola started barking, and I ignored her. Because she was always barking at squirrels and birds and things, thinking she was protecting our territory. What a silly dog.
birds could eat your crops.
But this time, it wasn't a squirrel or a bird. I actually don't even know for sure what it was. But the tracks I found later looked like they might have come from a grizzly.
Mallory gasped and held her hands up to her face. I felt like if I stopped, I wouldn't be able to start again, so I just kept going.
When I realized how urgent her barking was, I ran outside. But she was already gone.
Oh,
That eerie silence is something I'll never forget.
poor Lola.
I searched for her all night and all the next day. I never found her. Just tracks and some blood and fur. I don't know if a bear grabbed her and took her, or if she went chasing after it, or what. I just know I've never been so angry in my whole life. I was already dealing with the pain of losing my parents, and now Lola was gone too. After that, I pulled out all my family's old traps from the shed and set them up around the house. It was too little too late, but I needed to feel like I was doing something. It never occurred to me that a human might get hurt in one, and I'm really, really sorry that you did.
No, that's so sad. I looked up to see Mallory nodding vigorously, wiping tears from her eyes.
I don't fault you at all for what happened to my leg. I was the one who trespassed in the dead of night.
Yeah, that's true.
She let out a short laugh through her tears, sniffling. I got on my chair again to find her some tissues, and when I handed them to her, I found myself giving her narrow shoulder a squeeze.
I'm so sorry about Lola. That's a heartbreaking story.
Sorry I made you cry.
No. I'm glad you shared that with me.
What a face, though. For a moment, I wondered if this was it. The moment she would start to open up and share her story with me, too. Why had she been outside my house in the middle of nowhere in the rain at night, all alone? Maybe I should encourage her.
Okay, it's your turn.
What for?
Maybe you should have done it more subtly.
To tell me something about you. Something real. Like maybe what brought you here?
A look of discomfort crossed her face. She still didn't want to tell me.
Or if you're not ready to talk about that, then maybe you can tell me something else. Something more light. Please? I hardly know anything about you.
What do you want to know?
We have all kinds of options. We have two options, but I mean, we always have like two options in this game. Ask her about her favorite memory. Ask her about her hopes for the future. I feel like asking her about her favorite memory will give us more information about her than asking her about her hopes for the future.
Tell me something about how you grew up. A happy moment or favorite memory.
Yay, achievements! She pressed a finger to her lips, thinking hard.
My favorite memory? Building pillow forts with my sister, and playing make-believe that we were airship captains flying through the clouds. We lived at the top of the tallest building on our street, which is probably what inspired our game. I remember we had this old pair of binoculars. They weren't good or anything, but we used to look up at the night sky through them and pretend we were looking into other galaxies.
Space is super cool. I approve.
Well, I'm glad you approve. She giggled.
I always loved the night sky. All the stars and planets and satellites. We actually lived really close to the planetarium, and it was always my dream to go there and see a show. But it got closed down when I was just a baby. My mom would always tell me that someday the planetarium would open again. And I just had to be patient. I guess I never really stopped waiting.
She gave me a sad smile.
Hey, I think I've been to that planetarium. I would have been really small, so I don't remember a lot, but that's kind of cool, right? But we could totally go stargazing here in the mountains. There's nothing like it.
She looked away, cheeks flushing pink. She wiped her eyes and shrugged.
Anyway, I should probably let you get back to work now.
The last thing I wanted to do was go back to work. I gave her a little poke for suggesting it.
Don't do that! I'm super ticklish!
Oh, this is going to turn into a thing.
Oh, are you? I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
I poked her again, gently waggling my fingers. She twisted in her seat, laughing, her eyes lighting up. Her laugh was beautiful. She squealed and kicked her feet as I tickled her sides. A playful attempt at retaliation sent her slipping off her chair, but I easily caught her, and suddenly, it was like our arms were around each other. We sat there on the floor, both of us laughing through our breathlessness. It was amazing, and then it was a little awkward. I withdrew my arms and got to my feet. I helped her up. We stood there for a moment, just looking at each other.
I have an idea. Let me treat you to a special dinner tonight.
Oh.
A special dinner? Ooh, and what would that be?
I haven't thought that far ahead yet. Give me a minute.
I thought about what sort of meal I could make from the things I had in the kitchen or pantry. Truthfully, I wasn't a very good cook. I mean, I could throw together a salad or a sandwich, but that wouldn't be special though. A thought sprang to my mind. In the pantry was a very old bottle of red wine. I didn't know if it was fancy or even good wine, but it was the only bottle of booze I had in the house. And because of that, I valued it highly. Oh no, we're going to get drunk. Originally, I had intended to save it for a special occasion, specifically for the day the virus was cured. The bottle had been sitting on the shelf for many years. The hopeful note I'd attached to it to celebrate the cure, faded and dusty. Could I open it now? Should I open it now? No, it was special, really special, and meant for a day that might not come. Wine is meant to be shared, my brain reminded me. What the hell? I'll do it. I'd share that wine with Mallory. I swished my hand through the air and gave my best pompous butler impersonation.
A most decadent helping of popped corn with truffle oil and adult beverages.
Mallory stared at me, then tossed her head back in laughter.
Dinner is popcorn and nondescript alcohol? That sounds fantastic.
Well, I'm glad she's pleased with it. While I had the popcorn going, I asked Mallory to go look for the truffle oil from the cellar.
I'm back. I think this is the right one.
She turned the bottle for me to read the label. Scribbled in my own sloppy Jiffy marker writing were the words, "The good stuff." I nodded and motioned my chin to show her where to find wine glasses and bowls.
So you made this truffle oil yourself?
Yeah, it's not too hard once you get the hang of it. The first batches I ever made were terrible though. Lots of trial and error before I landed on the right mix of ingredients and timing.
She brought out a large bowl from the cupboard and placed it beside me for the popcorn.
Wow, that's so cool. I think it's incredible that you've learned to do all these things.
That's just how it goes when you live on your own. If you'd like, I can teach you.
While reaching up to grab the wine glasses, she cocked her head curiously at me.
You would want to teach me?
It seems like he's been telling you that he's been wanting to teach you lots of stuff.
Of course. You're a good company, and it might be fun to show you how these things work.
She smiled at me and took the wine glasses over to the living room, dusting them off with her sweater as she walked. The popcorn was almost ready. Settling into the couch to watch a movie on my computer felt very different having a beautiful girl beside me. The same one who, only a few minutes earlier, was on the verge of tears. I was happy I could cheer her up, if only for a little while. She seemed much happier with the distraction of popcorn in a movie.
Oh my goodness, this wine is the best tasting thing I've ever had in my life.
Your bar might be low though. Her cheeks began to turn rosy after just the first sip. It made me happy seeing her like this, and I was glad that I could share this small gift with someone.
What sort of movie would you like to watch?
How about something with action? And romance? Oh, and some comedy too.
That's a tall order. Let me see what I can find.
It wasn't long before we both relaxed and let ourselves be absorbed into the movie. It was a strange story about a girl from the moon who fell in love with a human. They had to overcome their differences in order to realize they were destined to be together. There was also a moon cat that would bust out wisecracks every 2 minutes, and Mallory roaring with laughter, as I expected.
This cat, I can't believe some of the things he says.
Her laughter was infectious and soon had me joining in, despite the subpar humor of the movie. Listen, wine makes everything better, so...
I haven't laughed like this in so long. Oh my gosh, my stomach hurts from laughing.
Clumsily, I spilled a bit of wine on my pajama pants. The splotch had landed right on my... well, thing that rhymes with splotch. The sight of it only made us roar with more laughter. It may have been the wine causing us to act so funny, but it may have just been that we were long overdue for a good, honest laugh. Being like this made me feel like my old self, or rather, like the person I might have been, had my circumstances not forced me to become a young hermit. I wondered when we had started sitting so close to each other. I suppose it was so that we could share the bowl of popcorn without having to reach. But in fact, Mallory was so close to me that I could feel the heat radiating off of her thigh besides my hand. I stretched out my fingers to graze her leg, testing the waters to see how she would react. Oh my! Where is this heading to? To my surprise, she didn't recoil. So there my hand sat for the remainder of the movie, too nervous to move either way. At one point, I noticed her hand fall to her lap. It was resting in a way that seemed uncomfortable, with her palm facing upwards. It was honestly quite distracting. Maybe she wanted you to hold her hand. Before I could figure out if she had left it there for me to hold or not, the movie had ended. I missed my chance.
I really enjoyed that. Thanks so much for watching with me.
Parts of it were entertaining, definitely. Like that bizarre turtle in a top hat.
That's right. And how we saved them from that lizard beast was so insane.
We sat together for another minute, recanting the ridiculousness of the story we had just experienced. All the windows were dark now, and Mallory looked exhausted. I felt pretty tired too.
I guess I should get off your bed and let you get some sleep.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. See you in the morning?
You know, this triangle mouth thing of her that she does is kind of weirds me out.
Definitely.
A little reluctantly, I left Mallory on the couch and climbed up the stairs into my bedroom. As I settled into the bed, I felt a strange mix of happiness and loneliness. Two feelings I hadn't felt or allowed myself to feel in a long, long time. The pain of losing my family had been too much to bear, and so my heart had shut off and I just existed, going through the motions, waiting endlessly for nothing in particular. Now, I was rediscovering myself, relearning what it meant to be human, and it was all because of Mallory. Then, as though she had known I was thinking about her, Mallory called up to me.
Sweet dreams.
You too. Get a good night's sleep.
I yawned and nestled deeper into my pillow. Before I could remember what I had been thinking about, I was fast asleep. exploded corn and squashed grapes. Chapter 6. Attachment.
Good morning, sleepyhead.
The voice drew me up towards consciousness, but I didn't know if it was real or part of a dream. I heard a familiar creaking. Who could be walking up the stairs? I'm pretty sure it wasn't me. No, I was definitely laying in my bed. My eyelids were heavy and my brain was only half awake. A weight pressed down on the bed near my feet.
Wakey, wakey.
It sounded like Mallory. I teetered on the edge of consciousness, hoping I'd be left alone to fall back into slumber. The weight at the end of the bed shifted, shaking me a little. I squeezed my eyes shut.
Okay, you leave me no choice. Incoming pounce attack!
Why? She never did this to us before. Why is she suddenly jumping on top of us? Oh, it hurt my head when I did that. I was jolted awake then, fully this time, by the force of Mallory jumping on top of me. A panicked shout escaped me as I yanked the covers up past my cheek, leaving only my face exposed. Mallory beamed, straddling me proudly. Her clear aquamarine eyes filled with mischief.
Oops, did I scare you? Well, you left me no choice. I tried calling you, throwing things at you, and wafting delicious smiles in your direction. None of those worked, so this was my last resort for getting you to wake up. And it did the trick. You're awake now.
What kind of monster just pounces like that on a poor defenseless sleeping person?
Yes, indeed.
Monster, you say? Wow, you sure do know how to give a girl a compliment.
I scowled at her playfully. I was pretty sure she was resting her whole weight on me, but she felt like nothing. And though I've been legitimately startled and more than a little confused, I found now that I didn't dislike the situation.
If you're jumping about like this, does that mean your leg is feeling better?
Molly looked down at her bandaged leg and then back at me. She pursed her lips.
It doesn't hurt as much, but it feels kind of weak. Like it might give out if I put too much weight on it.
I didn't know enough to know if that was normal or what it meant. I nodded vaguely and just stared up at her, and she stared down at me. And then I shook myself.
So why did you need me to wake up so urgently?
She cocked her head.
I made you breakfast and I didn't want it to get cold. And I was worried. You're usually up way earlier than this. And maybe I was a little lonely and sort of missed you.
What did she mean by usually up way earlier? I craned my neck to check the clock on my nightstand. Oh, that was what she meant.
Damn, what's up with me? I never sleep this long.
Are we sick?
Sometimes your body just needs a little extra rest. Okay, now...
Mallory twisted, leaned over the bed, and produced, as if from nowhere, a plate of breakfast.
Ta-da!
Wait. Where did she put that on the bed before she pounced on us? That's incredible. We must have one of those mattresses where you can jump up and down and the glass of wine doesn't spill. She held the plate out, showing me the stack of fluffy golden waffles. They smelled amazing, fruity and sweet, flecked with red and drizzled with maple syrup.
My mouth is watering. I never knew that was an actual thing that happened to mouths.
Strawberry waffles from scratch will do that to you. You'll have to tell me once you taste them, but I think I may have outdone myself this time. The only thing I did make from scratch is the syrup.
That's okay. I made the syrup from scratch.
Wait, you did?
I nodded.
There are tons of maple trees around here. I harvest their sap at the end of each winter. It's pretty simple. I drill small holes into the trees and insert what's called a spile, which is like a spout. The sap drains out through there and into a bucket. When I have enough to fill a pot, I essentially boil it down until it's mostly evaporated. Then it's syrup. And the best part is, it keeps forever. So I can just store it in glass jars in my pantry.
Mallory had never looked happier, or more amazed, or more beautiful.
That sounds like some kind of fairy magic.
That just sounds like normal things.
The real magic is your cooking. This looks incredible. Although, do you mind taking it downstairs so we can eat there? I'd like to get dressed and, well,
What? Mallory looked down at herself and the way she was straddling me, and her face turned bright red quite rapidly. She scrambled to get off me, nearly dropping the plate of waffles in her flustered state.
I'll do that now. Sorry. See you downstairs.
Without making eye contact, she raced down the stairs. There came the sound of cutlery being fumbled within the kitchen below. I dragged my hand down my face, equal parts amused, exasperated, and happy. Yay, achievement. Alright, we'll end this episode here. We'll see what happens after that awkward thing. I'm PewCat. If you haven't already, comment and subscribe. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon.